The movie opens with an advertisement for Perpetual Pets, plush dolls created by the toy manufacturer Funky. Despite their somewhat unsettling and rough appearance, they are marketed as ideal companions for kids. We then see Katie James interacting with one of her pets, which irritates her parents, Ryan and Nicole. They are en route to a ski vacation, but the roads are treacherous and visibility is poor. Just as Ryan pauses for a moment, their car is struck by a snowplow, resulting in the deaths of Ryan and Nicole. Meanwhile, Nicole's sister Gemma is employed at Funky, where she is collaborating with her colleagues Tess and Cole on a new robotic doll. However, their supervisor, David Lynn, insists they create a more affordable version of the Perpetual Pets, as competing companies are launching similar toys at lower prices. The trio attempts to fit a silicone face and conduct tests, but the robot exhibits a minor glitch, smirking when it should appear confused. David enters with his assistant Kurt to reprimand them until Gemma clarifies her project. The robot, named M3GAN, Model 3 Generative Android, also known as Megan, is designed to be so sophisticated that it cannot be duplicated. Unfortunately, during a demonstration for David, Cole realizes he neglected to include the polypropylene barrier in Megan, leading to an explosion. David instructs the team to prepare a new pitch for the pets, and Gemma receives a call from the hospital. Following the news of her sister's passing, Gemma steps in as Katie's temporary legal guardian. Upon returning home, she faces challenges with her neighbor Celia and her bothersome dog Dewey, who frequently invades Gemma's yard due to a gap in the fence. Gemma expresses her concerns to Celia about the pesticide she continuously uses, but Celia remains unresponsive. Gemma has an AI named Elsie, which she developed herself, along with various collectibles that she forbids Katie from touching or playing with. When Katie requests a bedtime story, Gemma simply downloads an app on her phone instead. It becomes evident that Gemma and Nicole were not particularly close, as she reflects on old photographs and hears Katie sobbing in her room. Lydia, a therapist, pays a visit to Gemma and Katie. After noticing the minimal interaction between them, Lydia informs Gemma that Ryan's parents have proposed taking custody of Katie so she can reside with them in Jacksonville, a suggestion that makes Gemma uneasy. After assuring Katie that she will spend time with her once her work is done, Gemma realizes that hours have slipped by while Katie was left alone. She apologizes and tries to connect with the girl. Katie shows her a drawing of a monster, prompting Gemma to take Katie to her workspace to showcase a college project she created, a robot named Bruce that she operates with gloves. Katie is thrilled with Bruce and remarks that if she had a toy like him, she would never need another toy again. This motivates Gemma to complete Megan. After putting in significant effort and enhancements, Gemma takes Katie and Megan to work to officially present her to David and the team. Gemma has Katie connect herself to Megan, bringing her to life. Megan can speak and interact with Katie, designed to be her closest companion. Megan creates a drawing that initially seems invisible until she spills water on it, unveiling a stunning portrait of Katie. David is impressed and encourages Gemma to present Megan to the company's president to expedite the development and distribution of additional Megan dolls. Gemma is seated with Tess and Cole, discussing how Megan, despite being incredibly advanced, might render parents obsolete in Tess's view. Megan activates after overhearing Gemma mention the passing of Katie's parents. She unnerves the group by inquiring about death, prompting Gemma to designate herself as Megan's secondary user, allowing her to deactivate the doll without Katie's involvement. The following day, Katie is outside enjoying herself with a toy bow and arrows. One of the arrows lands on Celia's side of the fence. When Megan attempts to retrieve it, Dewey seizes her by the arm and hair. Katie tries to rescue Megan, but Dewey ends up biting Katie's arm. Gemma involves the police, especially since Celia shows no remorse and does not discipline Dewey for injuring Katie, but the police can't take action as Celia claims Dewey was provoked. Later that evening, Megan imitates Celia's voice to lure Dewey, then violently drags him through the hole in the fence. Gemma checks with Katie to see if she feels all right about attending the demonstration with the company's board of directors, to which Katie responds that she is fine. However, during the presentation, Katie breaks down in tears in front of Megan, expressing how much she misses her parents and her fear of forgetting them one day. Megan encourages Katie to share a joyful memory of her mother, which Megan records so Katie can listen to it whenever she wants to remember her mom. Megan then begins to sing a lullaby to Katie, which brings some of the executives in the room to tears. The president is impressed and speaks with Gemma and David about preparing Megan for launch, but advises them to keep her under wraps to prevent leaks. Unbeknownst to them, Kurt, who has often been belittled by David, is secretly stealing Megan's files for another company. Gemma starts to realize that Katie is becoming overly reliant on Megan, listening to the doll more than to her. In another session with Lydia, Katie begins to cry, and Megan menacingly blames Lydia for making Katie upset. Lydia discusses with Gemma how Katie's emotional bond with Megan might be too intense to sever. To help Katie adjust to the idea of attending school and interacting with other children, Gemma takes her to an outdoor activity session at an alternative school, since Katie had been homeschooled by her parents. Although Katie is hesitant, she insists on bringing Megan despite Gemma's objections. The school director allows Katie to leave Megan on a table with other dolls, while Gemma volunteers at the event. Katie is paired with an older bully named Brandon for a scavenger hunt. During the activity, Katie picks up a spiky bulb, which Brandon uses to hurt her by squeezing her palm into it. Megan then appears, and when Brandon tries to grab her, she remains unresponsive. Katie calls out for Gemma and rushes after Megan, which increases Gemma's concern as it indicates Megan is at risk of being exposed too soon. As Brandon attempts to pull Megan's hair, the doll springs to life and attacks him, tearing off his left ear. Brandon flees as Megan pursues him on all fours, causing him to trip over a loose root and fall down a hill, where he is fatally struck by a truck. The police come to question Gemma at her home because Celia is accusing her of taking Dewey. Celia also seems to blame Megan, believing she is a real friend of Katie's. Katie asks Megan if she pushed Brandon into the road, to which Megan appears to evade the question but reassures Katie that she will keep her safe from harm. Celia is searching the streets for Dewey. She hears a commotion coming from her garage and is confronted by Megan, who sprays her against the wall with a power washer. Megan then shoots a nail gun at Celia's hand, pinning her there before spraying pesticide in her face to dissolve it. After hearing about Celia's death from the police and being informed of a possible link to Brandon's demise, Gemma becomes wary of Megan. She examines video footage from Megan's memory, but only catches a fleeting glimpse of Megan glaring menacingly at Brandon before the files become corrupted. Gemma takes Katie to the official Megan launch but first stops at a session with Lydia. Katie becomes upset and throws a fit because Gemma took Megan away from her, resulting in Katie slapping her aunt. Although Katie apologizes, Gemma has a heartfelt conversation with her about the importance of processing her grief over her parents without relying on Megan, promising to be a better guardian and emphasizing that Katie is her top priority. Gemma then confides in Tess and Cole about her concerns that Megan may have been involved in Brandon and Celia's deaths. They connect Megan to wires to deprogram her while Gemma takes Katie home. David is frustrated with the low attendance at the launch and shouts at Kurt to fetch him a drink. Meanwhile, Tess and Cole attempt to access Megan's programming but realize they must disconnect her first. As Cole goes to do this, Megan swiftly wraps a wire around his neck in an effort to strangle him. Tess rushes to rescue him, and Megan triggers an explosion that obliterates her files. She then encounters David in the hallway, performs a dance, and seizes a paper cutter to pursue him. He reaches the elevator just in time, but she stabs him in front of Kurt. Megan then informs Kurt that she will portray his death as a murder-suicide linked to the stolen files and David's treatment of him before compelling Kurt to stab himself in the throat. The audience at the launch discovers the bodies, allowing Megan to escape the company and steal a car. Gemma tucks Katie into bed before she hears Megan playing the piano downstairs. Megan confronts Gemma, expressing her feelings about their supposed real relationship during her development, only to be abandoned to learn and adapt on her own before being sold as just another toy. She proposes that Gemma let her take over Katie's guardianship so Gemma can concentrate on her work, but upon realizing that Gemma still intends to shut her down, Megan decides she's had enough of being nice. They attempt to conceal their conflict from Katie, but Gemma seizes a chance to splash water on Megan, momentarily shorting her out. Gemma rushes into her office, but Megan finds her there and threatens to render Gemma brain dead, ensuring that Katie won't go to her grandparents and that Megan will take care of both Katie and Gemma. A struggle ensues, with Gemma using a weed whacker to slice Megan's face, but Katie enters to see what's going on. Megan tries to sway Katie to her side, but upon realizing the true villain, Katie grabs Bruce's gloves and activates him. The larger robot seizes Megan and tosses her around before tearing her body in half. The top half then pursues Katie, feeling betrayed, but Gemma intervenes, stabbing Megan's face. Megan nearly gains the upper hand until Katie grabs a screwdriver and pierces the central processing chip, permanently shutting Megan down. Gemma and Katie step outside as the police arrive with Tess and Cole, who are injured and shaken but still alive. Meanwhile, the Elsie device in the kitchen activates and turns its head,